The role of affordable, easy-to-use espresso machines for any barista is often understated. They will help you propel your skills early on, but once you get a certain level of knowledge, they are usually taken for granted. So I started 7 years ago with the Bialetti Bricca, a delicious coffee maker that has no doubt been underappreciated recently. After using it for a year, I sidelined it when I got my first so-called true espresso maker, the Flair Signature series. I did it because with the Flair available, I felt like there was no point in mocha pots anymore. I had the inner thoughts that these simple and straightforward machines had no place in improving my coffee brewing. This idea, as evident in my more recent videos, is completely wrong. I'm pretty sure that many people who started using these cheap makers have grown their skill level and become leading experts in this field. After all, these makers are appealing to newcomers because the investment required in terms of capital and time is minimal. The makers are very cheap and easy to use, which make them most suitable options for anyone wanting to jumpstart their espresso journey. This leads to the Outin Nano Portable electric espresso machine. The machine seems designed to take the first maker approach very seriously. It's a battery-powered espresso machine that makes espresso with a press of a button. I mean, almost literally here. It claims to do everything you need for espresso. The lithium 7,500 mAh rechargeable battery powers a pump that generates the 9 bars of pressure needed for espresso. The Outin Nano Standard Pack comes with a small plastic cup which sticks nicely to the bottom of the unit. There's a capsule converter for brewing capsules, which for obvious reasons I am not going to use, and a kit to brew single shots, which includes the basket and a coffee spoon that doubles as a tamper. We also get a USB-C to C cable for charging, which can be plugged into a typical USB Type-C power adapter to charge the battery. Outin kindly provided the unit as a review sample, and as usual, I will be as impartial as possible. The maker has 3 parts. There's the basket holder, which threads in place to the main unit, where the magic happens. Then, on top, you have the water tank, which you can access by opening the top lid. The tank has an 80 milliliter capacity which lets you brew up to a double shot. The body is made of food-grade plastic, which feels adequately solid to the touch, without giving the machine unnecessary heft and heat issues. Multiple color choices are also available if you want to make a statement. It's also IPX4 certified, meaning you can splash water without breaking the unit or voiding the warranty. Coupled with the battery power, this machine should be easy to use outdoors. With the small single-shot basket included in the standard pack, you are able to brew up to 7 grams of coffee. You have a basket diameter of 35 millimeters, which is very small compared to other machines. You can safely go as low as 5 grams if you'd like to. To increase the maximum input, you have to get the Basket Plus kit. It's an additional kit that will let you brew up to 18 grams. Let's start with a rundown of the brewing process. Fitting grounds can sometimes be challenging, but my tip is to transfer the grounds both to the basket and the included spoon tamper. Partially fill both of them and slowly transfer the ground while tapping on the table so the grounds collapse. Yes, it's not exactly an ideal method, so the designers should take notes here, but if you are one of those lucky guys, you can use funnels from other machines to help you do this. Okay, once that's done, you should lightly tamp the ground with the spoon tamper. Cover the basket, put it into the holder, and screw the holder very tightly to the unit. You don't want to leave any gaps. If you do, there's a chance that some pressure may leak. The machine will flush all the water inside the tank, so it is best practice to measure the water you put in. I often use 30 grams of water for 7 grams of coffee, which has given me the best balance, at least for this kind of coffee. It's nice to be able to control the output, as you can tailor your espresso by changing the amount of water you put in. To prepare for brewing, put the lid on and cover the bottom with the included plastic cup. There are 2 modes here. If you have used boiling water, the machine can use it directly to brew espresso using the hot water mode. To do so, press the button twice. To use the cold water method, Instead of the double press, do a long press for about 2 seconds, and the machine's heating element will be activated. Since heaters are very power hungry, the battery will run out after 5 brews. Keep that in mind. The heating takes about 2 to 3 minutes to complete, and the 4 LEDs will work as a progress bar. The nice thing is, the machine will control the pressure and flow. You just have to wait and relax until the process is finished. After the brew, you can unscrew the holder and knock out the coffee. I found that the quickest way to knock the coffee out is to tap it hard into a hard surface, which is not ideal. There's definitely some room for improvement here. On the flip side though, the puck comes out relatively dry and clean, and isn't hard to prepare for the next brewing cycle. This isn't as annoying as other makers I used that gave out a soupy mess, but it will still require some effort, unlike more expensive machines. The portafilter is pressure assisted and flow controlled. They have their benefits and pitfalls, but thankfully, this has got to be one of the least forgiving of the flow control ones I've used. Some adjustments are still needed to get the right flow, but it's significantly more forgiving than a proper espresso machine. I like that. There's some preciseness of grind size needed here. You can stick to the capsules for those who can't be bothered. So, if you get all those things sorted, the results did surprise me a bit. The machine, indeed, brews real deal espresso with the press of a button. Well, 2 presses to be precise. There's no doubt that it brews proper single shots, and there's not a sliver of doubt that this thing does what it's supposed to do. Between brews, I also didn't see any loss of consistency. As long as you get the water quantity right, there's nothing to worry about. The workflow is excellent, and the learning curve is very approachable. If you use the hot water setting, you don't have to worry about the battery life, as I even forgot that it ran on battery while testing. One full charge should be able to do 200 shots. Yes, this comes at a cost though. Even if there's no reason to mention this, I want to say it regardless. A big concern from me is how there's no way to see what's going on inside, and that feels like a magic black box, added with the fact that we have no control over how the Outin Nano brews espressos. It's probably not specifically tailored for advanced users. As a personal take of mine, this is a bit of a shame, but this is once again where I should set aside my subjective opinion. It's pretty much what the Outin Nano is designed to do, and it's great at doing that. In fact, I think it wouldn't be too tall of an order to tailor the technology for someone who is a bit on the more serious side of the spectrum. I'd be very excited if they're on to something like that. Something I missed on the standard pack is the lack of possibility of double-shot, non-pressurized baskets. You can get the Outin Basket Plus expansion pack, which costs $40. Stay tuned, as I'm going to check it out soon. Holding the espresso machine in your hand while seeing it do its magic is a fantastic experience, but you still need a permanent stand to make it a staple home brewer. There's an expansion pack for that coming up, but you can also use wooden drip stands for origami brewers. For some reason that I can't explain besides luck, these stands help, albeit not perfectly. The standard unit has an MSRP of $150 US, putting the Outin in line with other entry espresso makers out there. While other companies like Flair and Wakako are rapidly developing new offerings at a speed never seen before, the Outin still stands out in some key aspects. It's the only one that is this simple and runs entirely on battery, so it's probably the best tool to start your journey into espresso. The simplicity removes the complex variables that newcomers should worry less about, allowing them to focus on the fundamentals instead of asking funny questions on the home barista forum. Yes, that was me 6 years ago, by the way. Assuming that they don't go the lazy capsule route. Don't do that. In some way or another though, I have some concerns regarding the machine's limited customizability. I might sound ridiculous here by saying this, but I'm worried that once the so-called newcomers acquire the fundamentals, they won't have the luxury of exploring further. At this point, it may be unrealistic, but I hope they will address this somehow in future iterations by adding Bluetooth control or something. That'd be very exciting. As far as longevity goes, I found no potential long-term issues during my testing of about 30 or so shots. I hope it stays that way until we meet its rated mean time between failures. There's, however, a concern if you constantly use unfiltered water through this machine, as scale buildup might choke its internals. Be sure to run citric acid through from time to time, just like other appliances. The price might be a little steep for starters, but the uniqueness and quality you get from this are far beyond any other portables below this price. I definitely recommend it in a heartbeat if you have not made your first espresso. For more experienced users buying this machine, I'd say it has a lot of potential too, but in a very different way. As I'd imagine, the Outin would be a very capable portable secondary machine. It's small and lightweight, and you can use it as a two-way machine. At home, you can use it when it's not your day to tune your main machine. When you have a business trip, pop it into your backpack and couple it with a small manual grinder. You can pretty much have a coffee station anywhere. That would save you from drinking questionable coffee from coffee chains. And yes, this machine can be taken to planes, as the lithium battery capacity is under the safety limit. Just be sure you bring it in your carry-on and not the checked-in luggage. As for outdoor usage, I don't really want to say much. I had a hard time trying to explain the machine for that use, but it's probably just my lifestyle's concern. Life without electricity and a 4G signal gives me massive anxiety, so I don't feel qualified to say anything about this. I'm just going to mention that you have the option. I wonder if they could make this even more extreme though. Let's use a smaller battery and take out the heating element altogether. This could be another lighter version, and all the cost savings can be diverted toward a smart, controllable system through Bluetooth. Just a thought. In the current standard version, however, the versatility of the machine must still be very well appreciated, considering that it brews very well in either of the water settings. In terms of what you get and pay for, there's not much to complain about here, which has kind of become the trend of recent coffee machines. They're too good compared to their predecessors. It's getting somewhat scary, but I'm afraid it won't diminish my excitement in the slightest. Well, that's all I got to say. Until next time.